This is Consenting Adults with Leyna Nguyen.
My guest today is 49-year-old David Webb, author of Hotwife Dating Diaries, My Adventures with a Hotwife in the Lifestyle, and the Book of Secrets. So David is out there in the Midwest somewhere. He is a single male in an open poly relationship with a couple. He's Christian, so are they. David, welcome to the show. I was just reading about some of your experiences with Vanessa. Now, is Vanessa the woman you're currently in this poly relationship with?
Yes. First of all, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here. Yes, Vanessa is my hot wife date turned girlfriend turned the female of an MFM triad.
I know it gets very technical. It gets very technical. So you're 49 years old. Have you ever been married?
I have. I was in a very rough relationship for about 29 years.
Rough meaning what?
It was abusive in a verbal sense, very controlling. She was quite paranoid about things not going her way, so she attempted to control everything around her. And of course, being her husband, I was the easiest target of all.
But you stayed married for 20-something years.
For the children.
Right. Oh, I hear that all the time.
Yeah.
All right. So now you are single and you've got this really incredible sounding relationship going on. Can you tell me, before we get into the what you do and who you do it with, how did you get here? Did you know there was a thing called polyamorous relationships? Did you know about the lifestyle?
I knew about swinging.
How? Why?
Well, I had heard ABC, I believe, did a 2020 special years ago, and I saw it. I had heard about swingers. I have no idea from where.
And it intrigued you?
Yes.
Even as a Christian, you didn't think, wow, that sounds really interesting, but it's wrong?
I did. I actually did think that it was wrong, but I've come to realize that wrong is probably not the proper term.
Right word. Yeah. Okay, so you knew about it. Why did you get involved in the lifestyle?
Well, I was divorced or in the process of being divorced, and I was content with that, going to work every day, living on my own. Then COVID happened, and they shut everything down here in Michigan, and I was stuck at home. And I got pretty bored and pretty lonely, and there's only so much working out you can do.
You must be super buffed.
Well, thank you. So needless to say, I dabbled in a website, swinger dating website, and signed up for that and sent out some emails after reading profiles that would fit me. Then Mark, Vanessa's husband, responded to one of my messages. And from there, we actually set up a date.
Before we start talking about how it all went, I'm curious to know why you went the lifestyle way. I mean, because you were in a long-time marriage with a lot of control issues. I don't know if there was jealousy. I don't know what your sex life was like. But I mean, why didn't you just get on a normal dating website? Why did you go lifestyle?
Well, I didn't necessarily want a commitment, ironically. It was more of, I tried the marriage thing. It didn't work. I don't want to get serious with somebody. If I can find a husband that will share his wife with me, or a couple husbands that will share their wives with me on occasion, that would be fun. I get to express myself and give the gift that I have to share with others, but no serious commitment to relationship. And then, of course, swingers are down to having sex. So
right. So Mark responded to your profile and contacted you. Did you meet up? Was it a date? Was it more just kind of DTF? What happened?
Pretty much DTF. I sent an email out, and within about a day, Mark responded back. And then he basically vetted me, because what he does for a living is HR. He does hiring. He's quite the interviewer.
So he interviewed you to sleep with his wife.
Basically. He vetted me, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I sent him some pictures, and he saw the pictures, and he thought that they were quite classy. There was some effort into it. They weren't just the dick pics. And I was very respectful, which note to all the single guys listening. Yeah, be respectful of the husband and the relationship and have some decent pictures.
Uh-huh.
He told me, all right, now on Saturday morning, send Vanessa the last picture you sent me and just introduce yourself. So I did that. And she basically woke up in the morning and looked at her phone and saw a picture of me. So we started texting, and one thing led to another. And within a couple hours,
Oh.
we had set up a date for the next evening. I had rented a hotel room, and I'm thinking, oh boy, if she bails on me, I can't afford to just rent this hotel room willy-nilly.
Right. She just shows up at the hotel? Was there any dating going on? I mean, was there any courting? Did you buy her dinner?
Actually, she brought dinner. It was takeout because everything was basically shut down. You can only take out. So
that's right.
Yeah, she brought a bottle of wine. I actually brought a bottle of wine. She brought a pizza. Actually, Mark dropped her off.
So the husband drops off his wife to a hotel.
Right. Yep.
To meet this guy she's never met.
That's right.
So she comes into the room, then what?
Well, first of all, I was stunned by her beauty. Pictures didn't do her justice.
Nice.
So we give each other a hug, and then we give each other a passionate kiss. Then we open a bottle of wine and started talking for a little while on the love seat. We started making out, and next thing you know, we are stripping each other's clothes off as we're going to the bed. That's where it all started.
David?
Yes?
Have you heard consenting adults before?
I have.
Okay. So you know what's coming next, right?
Okay.
So tell me what happened.
Well, and I cover this in the book. I don't hide the embarrassing. We got naked. I got inside of her. No condom. I said, you're really taking a chance. But she felt I was safe. But I hadn't had a chance to go down on her. And I really love to go down on a woman. And I've been told by others that I'm quite talented. So I was inside of her, but then I pulled back and I went down on her. But in the process of going down on her, I lost my erection and I could not get it back.
That's just something that happens sometimes, right? It's not that you didn't enjoy what you were doing.
Correct. The thing is that when I meet someone new, it's very difficult for me because they're a stranger to get or maintain an erection without, of course, what's called swingers insurance. That
right.
Nice.
Or a blue pill.
Yeah, I learned since then that, I might want to get some of those.
Describe to me what's going through your head. I mean, this is a woman you just met, and you're down between her legs right now.
Delicious. That's what I was thinking.
And had it been a while since you'd done anything?
Yes. It had been a good year and a half or so.
Was she responsive?
Oh, yes. She was very responsive. I think I hooked her with my tongue. So, but I couldn't get an erection. So we took a break.
Had some pizza.
Right?
That'll do it.
Talked in the lounge.
Was it good pizza?
Well, I didn't care for it, but needless to say. But we got to know each other better, and then we went back into the room, and I just could not get it going. I went down on her several times that night, and she definitely enjoyed it. But then toward the end of, actually it was the morning, at about 4 a.m, I was able to get it up. So I completed the deal for her. Now, in between that time, though, we spent a lot of time talking, and there was just something that clicked. We'd grown up in the same small town. We could relate to each other, quite similar religious background, Dutch conservative. We really clicked on a deeper level, and she basically said to me, will you be my boyfriend?
And you were kind of just looking for...
Yes.
Right?
Well, there's a caveat, though.
Okay.
I didn't want to just hop around from person to person. I wanted a few regulars that I could depend on, and enjoy and also get to know as friends.
You wanted to have sex with people you actually liked.
Yes.
So it wasn't just another warm body, but at the same time, you didn't want a real commitment, at least not when you started this.
That's right.
Because it sounds like right now you're in somewhat of a committed relationship.
That is correct.
What is the dynamic right now? Do you sleep with other people or just with her?
I sleep with her and I play with the two of them together, her husband and her.
Are you bisexual?
I am not.
Is he?
A little.
How do you know this?
Because he has shared my cock with Vanessa many times orally.
Okay, you've got to tell me about this.
Okay.
Because you're straight.
I am, but well, I would.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I am not really looking for that kind of thing. I guess you could say I was like bi-curious to a degree. I'm not afraid of touching, obviously, but Mark really likes to suck my dick. So
you let him.
I let him.
And it's enjoyable to you.
It is. It's very enjoyable.
Can you tell me about the first time that this happened?
I actually came over to their house, and this was probably the first or second time we had all three of us been together. And I stayed overnight. There again, it was before I got my insurance, my swingers insurance. So I was having a difficulty. I didn't have a difficulty too much with her anymore, but with him involved, that tends to complicate things.
Mm-hmm.
But it was dark in their room. First, she was sucking me while he was inside of her, fucking her. Then I felt a different pressure on my cock, and that was him sucking it.
Mm. And what is your response? Was it sexy or did it freak you out?
It felt better.
Uh-huh.
There was more pressure. No, it didn't freak me out. I just suspected that, okay, I don't think that this is Vanessa anymore.
Mm.
But it worked.
Oh.
It got me really erect, and we were able to perform together with her. So
Performing together with her. What's the configuration here?
we like to make Vanessa sandwiches too.
So you're really the MFM.
Yes. We enjoy giving her DVP.
Oh, okay.
It's double vaginal. We do DP every once in a while, but logistically, it just doesn't work as well. Double vaginal is a staple of our interaction. Has
she done that before?
She had never had an MFM of any kind, and she had never had DVP or DP until I came along, and she had never been with her husband and another man.
Oh.
So, I mean, this is our firsts for the two of them as well as for me.
But they were in the lifestyle. They
were for 5 years prior to meeting me.
And she was just like a hot wife, or what was their dynamic before?
They would play with couples, but found that it was hard to find a 4-way connection.
Right.
So they usually played separately.
Okay, so you found that when he went down on you, it felt better. Did you return the favor? Did you do anything with him?
Not that night, but at one point I did return the favor just to give it a try.
And
yeah, well, I felt kind of sexy.
You felt sexy?
I did feel sexy doing it.
Oh, so wow. So
Yep.
You felt kind of naughty.
Yeah, I felt kind of naughty.
You enjoyed doing it then?
Yes, but it's not something that I do.
So it's situational. Like if the situation is sexy enough, you could get into it.
If the mood strikes me, we'll put it that way. Now, I do caress him. For example, Vanessa is on top of him and he's penetrating her. I do kiss down her back and lick her anus and lick around her vagina and part of his shaft. Sometimes I'll lick his balls too. That's just mainly to be active. And
but you wouldn't do it if you didn't enjoy it, right?
True. Obviously I'm a giver, even though I don't consider myself bisexual per se, but I'm still a giver, and I believe in providing an experience for whoever I'm with.
So you went from your divorce, then COVID happened, then you met Vanessa and Mark, and you had this thing going. Did you experience anyone else during this time?
We did.
Why do you say we?
I did not separately.
Oh.
Now, Mark knew a couple. he had played with them before alone in an MFM, and they invited the three of us over. And so we had a 5-way, 3 men, 2 women.
How was that?
Very enjoyable. And it was great. That was the first time I saw Vanessa with someone other than me or her husband. And that was enjoyable to see too.
Oh, so you really have developed a relationship with her.
I have, yes.
Do you love her?
Yes.
Oh, does she know this?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Does he know this?
Yes, he does.
Wow. And everyone's okay with it?
It took a while. I mean, she used to be a hot wife, never having any emotion for whoever she was with. And here I come along and, yeah, Mark starts wondering, well, why don't you want to be with anybody else? Things developed to the point where it was obvious that we were in love. Mark and I basically in love with Vanessa, the same woman. So to Mark's credit, because obviously he doesn't know what happens when I'm with Vanessa alone. So he doesn't really know everything that we talk about and how the relationship was developing. So it took some time for him to wrap his head around this, but he loves me and I love him. We're very good friends, and he accepts it because he knows that I will not steal her from him. There's no threat there to their marriage. You have a question.
Well, I'm trying to figure out. So, when you say that he knows there's no threat, well, how does he know that? Because if you think about it, you weren't looking for a relationship, nothing committed, nothing exclusive. And then you find yourself kind of in a relationship right now, right? And then certainly you weren't looking to fall in love with anyone. And then you fell in love. So when you say, well, he knows there's no threat, he knows I'm not going to do this, how does anyone really know?
Right. So that is a very good point. And I guess that comes down to trust. We've learned to trust each other. I have obviously an ethic. I will not get in, and I told him this right away, I will not get in between him and her. And in fact, when Vanessa and I were falling in love, before I had actually been invited over to their house, and that was about 2 months into our relationship, I actually called him up and asked him to have a beer with me so that we could just talk. We talked about Vanessa, and he was very positive about what I was doing with her as far as expanding her horizons, with toy play and with anal sex and that type of thing. And obviously then when the three of us started playing together, I expanded her horizons more.
Speaking of the toys and all that other stuff that you're talking about, I've got your book open up right now. Will you turn to a page with me? Because I'd like to hear you read this.
All right.
I'm looking at page 13.
Page 13. And that
At some point, we did 69 with her on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I got it. That indented paragraph, correct?
Yes. Can you read that for me?
Okay. At some point, we did 69 with her on the bottom. Her sweet mouth enveloped my cock as I ate her cunt, licking her to orgasm and following up with a strenuous, sweaty fuck session. I had picked up a little vibe and took it out to tease her clit and pussy during another session. Of course, I also used my tongue, but focused on her sexy MILF pussy with the vibrator. She once again writhed with pleasure as the euphoria of orgasm washed over her. During one session, while taking her from behind, I got out my silicone-based lube and started fingering her ass. I could feel my heart beat from my cock with my finger in her ass as I was inside her vagina. She had a tight asshole. She told me I'd have my work cut out for me if I wanted to train her to take something bigger.
Okay, then.
So these are highlights of different sessions that we had.
What do you do for a living?
I drive a truck.
You do?
Yes.
Wow. And I don't mean anything other than it is so like atypical, right?
Yes.
Like you don't think of truck drivers as swingers, or maybe you do. I don't know. I guess I didn't. But also you express yourself in a way that is so like, I guess I don't know how to put it. That just really surprises me. Why did you start writing this?
Mark loves to hear reports of his wife's activities. So I said I would write a report for him every time we were together.
Oh,
But I told him, but I'm going to write it in a way with a view to publishing it in a book. What you have in front of you is not the reports, but it's an expansion of the report that I gave Mark.
mm-hmm. What kind of feedback have you gotten from him when he reads it? Does he like it?
Oh, he loves it.
Mm-hmm.
Can't get enough.
How often do you see each other?
I see Vanessa or Mark and Vanessa together at least once a week.
Do you feel like you found your tribe?
The start of one, at least.
Oh, what does that mean? Are you looking to broaden your horizons?
I think the three of us are looking for others who are friends and lovers that we can regularly go to and hang out with. And that would be great to find another couple or two, maybe a single girl.
So it's almost like the triad that you have right now. You're looking to be swingers.
That's right. We are open. We do swing.
You responded to me because you, I think, heard something on, I was looking for Christian swingers. Is that right?
That's right. At the tail end of episode 007, you had said, I know that there's Christian swingers out there, and I'd like to hear from you. So,
well, I'm so glad you reached out. I've heard from so many people who grew up in a very religious family and thought this was all wrong and had to leave the church to continue living in the lifestyle. Where are you in all of that? How do you reconcile all this with your faith? Are you still a Christian?
I am a Christian.
And you're still a swinger?
I am. And my couple is also.
Are there a lot of you out there?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I just happened, by God's hand, I would say, happened to meet Vanessa and Mark. I guess it was meant to be in a certain sense.
But how do you make it make sense in your heart and your head that
Right.
Because, most people would say that this is not right.
Right. Correct. I first have to state that the Word of God is the Bible, written through men, but it is still the Word of God. It's the treasure map to the treasure. And in order to get to the treasure, you have to follow the treasure map. Now, having said that, your previous interviewee was right that it doesn't talk about swinging, and it doesn't forbid swinging. It forbids adultery and fornication. And adultery is the stealing of another person's spouse. So as long as that spouse has permission and the knowledge of the other spouse, I don't believe that that's a sinful act in and of itself.
How about any homosexuality?
I believe the Bible is quite clear that homosexuality is not natural because God made a male and a female to be together. Does that mean that there isn't forgiveness and redemption in Jesus? No, there is. And people have homosexual ideas, thoughts, desires, and sometimes they act out on that. But there's mercy and forgiveness.
But if you keep on doing it.
But if you, that's the thing.
If you keep on doing it.
Correct.
Then how is that okay if you keep on sinning, knowing that it's a sin?
Well, some of your listeners might be upset at this statement, but I believe the Bible is clear that it's not okay. Homosexuality is not okay.
But you still participate.
I believe that there is a line, though, and where that line is drawn is hard to define biblically. Can I touch another man? Can I love another man? Can a woman love another woman? There's degrees to that. Can we kiss? I would say that on the kissing side and maybe even on the touching side isn't necessarily sinful. I think it's the actual act of sexual penetration that is probably the most...
the most sinful?
If you want to use that term, yes. That God was intending to communicate that, a guy penetrating another guy from behind is not something that...
Interesting. So then you would draw the line there. You would not do that.
Yeah, and yes, definitely. I would draw the line there. Mm-hmm. If something that we do is not sinful in itself, however, we can sin while doing it, there's a difference there. For example, it's not a sin to have a glass of wine, but to get drunk, it is a sin. You understand? And what we do when we're drunk can also lead to sin. And the same thing goes for sex. Sex is not sinful. And sex among people, even if they aren't married, isn't necessarily sinful. But we can sin by being selfish, engaging in that sex for our own pleasure, regardless of that other person, that other humanity. I approach it from a slightly different angle in that I believe God gave me a gift that I can give others. And as long as it's in an ethically done manner, my pleasure is derived from giving that gift to others and giving pleasure to others as opposed to taking it for myself.
So he's kind of like the single swinger Santa. You can look him up by searching David Webb and Hotwife Dating Diaries. All right, next time on Consenting Adults, a shy woman with some sexual trauma in her past has found her voice in the lifestyle. She's now a whole new woman from the first experience on.
And we had a really wonderful first experience of a threesome with this bouncer.
Wait, you hooked up with the bouncer at the sex club?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah.
Perks of the job, I guess. Oh, but there's a lot more to that story. That's next time on Consenting Adults.